Hey everyone, you're live with Necee. I am your host, Opal Bailey, and I have with me John Perry from Legal Shield. Good morning, John.
Good morning to you, Opal.
How you doing?
Man, I'm doing fantastic.
Awesome. So, hey, listen, tell us, what is Legal Shield?
Legal Shield. Well, first of all, let me tell you about me.
Oh, you want me to tell you? Okay, go ahead. Talk about you, John.
Got to talk about me.
Go ahead, talk
one of
about
the things
you.
that I've been doing with people now is it's so important for individuals to know who's representing what, you know. I'm talking to you about Legal Shield, which is an affordable legal service and identity theft protection. But who's John Perry? Well, John Perry's 61 years old, an immigrant from Jamaica, been here in the States for a little bit over 50 years, been on the Space Coast now for about 35 years, had the pleasure of working on the space program. I've been an entrepreneur, business owner, husband, father, and grandfather. So that gives me some authority, a little bit of life to sell this product. Legal Shield, as I mentioned, is a affordable legal service. Attached with it is an identity theft protection.
So when you say Legal Shield, what services do Legal Shield offer?
Well, what we have is we have throughout the country, every state, all 50 states, we have law firms which represent the members. You become a member. It ranges anywhere from $17 to $39 a month for the services. And we have law firms throughout the country. Some states have two law firms. As a matter of fact, we're here in Florida. We have two law firms which represents us, one in the south and one in the central part of Florida here. And we handle anything that has to do with the law. I mean, ranges anywhere from the trivial to the traumatic, you know, anything from a speeding ticket to divorces. Obviously, with the prices that we charge, some services are 100%, some services are discounted.
Okay, so do you deal with personal experiences only, or
No.
you?
No. We have different divisions within Legal Shield also. The legal plan affords you a personal membership, or you can go ahead as a small business owner, get a business membership, and also we have specialized areas also, like for truck drivers. We CDLP, whereby, say, for instance, a truck driver is doing cross-country trips and he gets a ticket in California. We have the opportunity for that driver to be in New York and still be represented in California the day of his hearing to take care of that ticket.
So if I am a single mother who pays child support and I have to, go to court or whatever the case may be, and I have Legal Shield.
Right.
What is the process? What I need to have legal representation?
Okay, why would you need legal representation? Are you trying to get rid of that child support? Are you challenging to get the child back? Well, again, I don't go into the legal ease of the business. I basically explain the membership. But I presume what the lawyers would do, you would call into the law firm, let's say, and the receptionist would direct you to that area of law that a lawyer that specializes in that area would contact you. And then he would discuss at length what your problems is. They would either write a letter, they would represent you in court, they would give you advice, whichever direction that they feel would be the best suited for the situation that you have.
So these are lawyers. These are like legitimate, bonded, legal legal lawyers. These not like paralegals. These are not like people on the corner on the side in a small office in Timbuktu representing us.
Well, I would imagine that with the prices that I've given you, you would wonder, these lawyers, did they pass the bar? Did they go to the bar underneath the bar? But these are bona fide A1 lawyers. Sometimes, and I'll tell you, there has been stories whereby these are the same lawyers that you would go out and get for $3 or $300 or $400 an hour. But the reason why we're able to charge a low fee is because it's a network. It's not just your $17. It's the network of over 1.4 million, I think it is, memberships that we have. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the 1.4 million don't have a problem every week. So the week that you have a problem, that law firm or that lawyer is able to deal with your problem, okay, and not charging you $300 an hour, okay.
Right.
It's the same. The same example would be when you go to the doctor, if you're part of a legal employee's benefit at a company, Harris Corporation is an example, and you get a health benefit, when you go to the doctors, you pay a $10 copay. That's all you're paying is $10. So what kind of doctor are you getting? You're getting a competent doctor. Well, basically, it's almost in the same vein.
Okay, so why would someone want to get Legal Shield and just...
Well, Legal Shield is a form of insurance. And insurance basically is the transfer of risk, okay? One of the best example I give is, would you go out and try and get insurance for your automobile after you had the accident? I don't think so. You want to try and get the insurance beforehand. I feel I've been a part of Legal Shield now for the last 8 years, and I've been selling it for the last 7.5. I feel very confident in my well-being because I have a Legal Shield card in my pocket that any legal matter that comes up, anything from a traffic ticket, okay, to my wife tonight when I go home, she say, I want a divorce. I know exactly who to call. Not only that, I've built up a rapport with the law firm over the last 8 years, whereby I'm not calling a stranger. You know, we have an immigration problem that's lurking in this country right now with a lot of immigrants, and one of the target market that I have is a lot of immigrants, whether you're a green card holder or you're illegal or whatever. You get detained. The question that I have to anyone, if something happened today, okay, or even this evening, what's your first move? Who are you going to call? You know, are you going to, you know, the traditional thing is you normally go through a yellow page book to find not the most expensive, but the most inexpensive representation, because you have to get represented. So with Legal Shield, having a membership with Legal Shield, there's no question who or where you're going to call. It's just one call now. And they have gone, and the technology is evolved now that in 2 press of a button, you could be attached to a lawyer. It's a 24/7 service. Obviously, for things that are trivial or routine, you would do that between 9 and 5. But on those situations that you have an emergency after hours, you're able to talk to an attorney to tell you which direction to go. Okay? That's a very powerful tool to have. Because even if you have a lawyer, if you are fortunate to have a lawyer on retainer, how many of those lawyers are going to be picking up that phone at 12 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night or on a Saturday or on a Sunday? With Legal Shield, you have the ability to get in touch with an attorney any time of the day or night, if it's an emergency. Let me clarify that now. The 24/7 or after hours are for emergencies. You know, if somebody comes, immigration officer comes and he thinks that you are illegally here or whatever, knocking on your door. Or you have you're a parent and you've been scolding your child and the neighbor called the cops that you're abusing the child, you know, police shows up your door at 9 o'clock at night. You have the ability to get in touch with an attorney to see what your next move should be. Very powerful.
That sound really good. It's comforting.
Oh, yeah, very much so. That's what I'm saying, you know, don't leave home without that card in your pocket. You know, it's a very comforting feeling.
So along with the protection of, say, like the everyday mishaps of life,
right?
What else does Legal Shield offer personally?
Okay.
I know when we talked before, you mentioned about will.
Okay.
So can you expound a little bit more? And
that should have been one of my lead-offs, because upon joining Legal Shield, one of the things that we definitely go ahead and do is give you the ability to go ahead and get your will, not only you, but also your spouse. Will is a very powerful tool that, you know, all of us that needs. And I think if you get a consensus of most Americans, I would say about 2/3 of America don't have one, mainly because of the cost. But becoming a member of Legal Shield, you have the ability to go ahead and get your will done along with your spouse. Now, a will is very important, especially here in the state of Florida, because if you die without a will, the state takes charge of that. They take hold of your estate, and they do the distribution. I mean, if you have a child that's left there, you know, both are gone, both parents are gone, or if you're a single parent or whatever, they normally go ahead and take charge of it. But if you have a will in place directing where your assets go, where your wishes for your child go, well, it's a different story altogether.
So can you give some examples of people who were not prepared with their will?
Well, you know, one of the things, particularly when you talk to a young person pertaining to Legal Shield, and you talk to them about a will and all that. And I think we were just discussing, how naive we here in the United States are about things happening. I mean, death comes to anyone at any age. I have an example I think I was giving you about a young lady that was raised in a household with a single mom. Dad never had anything to do with her upbringing, okay? She was going back and forth to Florida State, I think it was, and unfortunately she came down, and then going back to school, she was in an accident. She got killed. She didn't amass a lot of wealth while she was here on Earth, but upon her death, the person that caused the death, the company that the driver represented, they made a settlement of over $1 million. Well, because she did not have a will in place, that father, which never had anything with her, the upbringing of her and, nothing, that she didn't even hardly talk to the guy, wound up with 50% of the settlement, mainly because she didn't have anything in place to say, 100% goes to mom, or she needed something to go to the church. So that's just one example of that. A lot of siblings today are not talking, mainly because mom and dad didn't take the time to write down exactly that Johnny got the dishes and Mary got the silverware and all that. So, whenever money is involved or possessions are involved, there's always, unless it's clearly defined, there's always a problem with that.
So is the will preparation, is that immediately done once we become a member?
Once you become a member, there is a will is basically a note to the authorities or whoever to say, this is where it goes, this is where my possession goes. The process that we go through, there's a questionnaire that you normally get. It's a will questionnaire that it's called. And, it's your name, your address, who you are, and everything like that, which has to be certified. And you basically list your assets and exactly where it goes. So it is a process, and it comes back quite professionally. Me and my wife, we have done that. Not only you do it initially, but you have the ability to update it on a yearly basis without any additional charge.
Okay? Oh, wow. That's really good.
Oh, yeah. Especially kids going off to school. I think one of the greatest gifts that you can give a child going off to college or just leaving home in general is to give them a membership. The membership for children is normally goes all the way up to 26 if they're in school, not married, and things of that nature. But I think what you want to do is give them the responsibility of a membership for themselves, for them to get a will, for them to have a card in case anything happened. I think most of us can remember when we were in college, we weren't necessarily, the best, things happen, okay? Mm-hmm. Whether it's a deposit that's not being given back from, an apartment that you rented, or just a speeding ticket or whatever. This gives you the ability to get in touch with someone, because if you got in an accident or you can't get your deposit back from a landlord, calling mom is not really going to solve the problem. She's limited as far as what she can do. Mm-hmm. But if you have the ability to call a lawyer, someone of authority, that's somebody that knows the law, I think you're in a better position.
So when a individual apply for membership, okay, and how many family members can they have on there under them? Well,
it's you, your spouse, mm-hmm, and then you, like as I mentioned, you can have children all the way up to 26. Mm-hmm. There's stipulation about not being married. The 26 has to do with they have to be in school if they're going all the way up to 26. Mm-hmm. It's 18. If you have a disabled child, it's for life. So unlimited number of kids you can have on it also. And at this point, let me go ahead and interject that we have an identity theft protection tool also that goes with it. It's called ID Shield. Now, identity theft is one of the fastest growing crimes that is out there. And most people, when they think about identity theft, everybody thinks about just the financial side of identity theft, your bank account, your credit cards, and all that. Mm-hmm. But one of the fastest area that is growing right now is medical identity theft, whereby somebody takes your identity or represents you, going to a medical facility, gets an operation or gets a routine procedure or whatever, and pretends that it's you. Just imagine now if that procedure requires transfusion of blood and your actual blood type is changed. Okay? Now you go in and you're getting the wrong blood. Can you imagine the ramifications behind that?